A lot has been said, a lot has been told in the Oprah Winfrey interview with her Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're diving into the realm of pop culture topics that people wanted to get my 2 cents on. And I watched the interview earlier today. This is March 9th. And oh crap, the Oval comes on in about an hour. So, this isn't going to be like a full breakdown. Look, there are just countless ways for you to watch the entire interview. I think, if you want to watch it the most legit way, if you will, it's on CBS.com. I think the interview is about an hour. It's a little less than 90 minutes long. So about an hour and a half. Wow. There's a lot. I mean, let me just put it this way. Am I surprised by the tea that was spilled? I mean, it's kind of funny that this is, a British, family and whatnot. And kind of like the Boston Tea Party. The British were kind of hit via the Boston Tea Party. Tea being dumped into the ocean. And in this case, you have tea being spilled all over in this interview. I think, the most talked about statements were, of course, when a concern by the family was how dark the baby's complexion would be when he was born. And the fact that the Prince and Meghan were at Tyler Perry's house, I believe one of his houses, for a certain amount of time with security that he provided. I believe I covered this in a video on the channel months ago. So when people were talking about it, I was like, wait, I knew this was already stated in the news, but given this interview, it kind of blew up that particular story even more. So yeah, I was aware, and let me double check because I'm pretty dang sure that I covered this in the channel. So before I go further into that, I'm going to look for it. Go ahead and take a moment to like this video, hit subscribe, click the bell notification icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content to the channel, and follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Yeah, I can't find it at this moment, but I'm pretty sure I did content on it. I forgot what I titled the video. That's probably why I can't pull it up at this moment. I'm just on my channel in the search bar typing in like Prince Harry, Meghan, whatever. Well, either way, I know I heard the news. Sorry about, rambling there, but I just had to look it up. So, when you think about the situation, I'm not surprised that the royal family feels a certain way about black people, just to be completely honest, and, putting that out there, because, they're traditionalists. They have their way of thinking, and that's just been their way of life for years, since, decades and whatnot. But, I just hear, a lot of split groups on this. Some people like, man, I don't feel sorry for Meghan. She knew what this life was going to be like when she agreed to marry into a family like that. I've heard people saying, the Prince Harry's stupid for stripping away his royal title and whatnot to be with a woman, like just a woman, a normal person. Other people who just, the royal family, down with them, for treating black people the way they do and things like that. And it's kind of like, I'm just kind of indifferent, because I think one podcaster was saying, if it wasn't for the tabloids, I wouldn't even know anything about what goes on in the royal family. I think they said the relevancy of the royal family is as dependent on the tabloids as the tabloid is dependent on the royal family for content. And that actually makes a lot of sense, because, unless I'm like, like, let's say to check out a food line and whatnot, and I would see, like the front of a tabloid, like, oh, the queen did this and whatnot, I wouldn't really know about them. Or the memes about like Queen Elizabeth, how old is she? Is she immortal? I think one of the biggest like Queen Elizabeth things that I remember in recent days is when Pokemon Sword and Shield was announced, and Yamper, the little corgi dog, was revealed. And it's like, oh, the Queen Elizabeth better be the champion of that region, and she better have a Yamper. And I thought that was pretty funny. But I just feel like it isn't surprising, that family, and I want to say family, not everybody. I don't know. I don't. Maybe not everyone has that same attitude towards black people as the same ones worried about, what color the baby is, and they treated Meghan like crap and all. I will say there were certain things I felt like, you should have kind of known. Again, I'm not trying to shame Meghan and Prince Harry, but I feel like there are certain things that should have been known when you became part of the family. It's kind of like when she said, I've only been outside of the castle or whatnot twice in 4 months. Like I've only been outside of the property twice in 4 months. I'm like, that's kind of expected for like royalty, because it's almost like, okay, me, I got a little bit of fame, and I mean just a little tiny bit here on YouTube and social media, so I'm free to roam around town by myself. Let's say if Tyler Perry hires me and I'm in a couple of shows and movies, it's plausible that I would still be able to do my own thing. But when you reach a certain level of fame, you aren't able, like Chris Brown isn't able to, go to a McDonald's by himself. Well, then again, that's a bad example because not all restaurants are open where you can go in. Let's just say he isn't able to go to the mall or Walmart like a regular person. So when you reach a certain level of celebrity or royal status, you aren't able to live life the way you did prior. So it's hard to sympathize with you there, because it's kind of understood that life isn't going to be the same once you join that kind of family. Prince Harry, apparently he has like a lot of heirs in front of him, like siblings, and I also forgot, like let's say the first in line, like his oldest brother, who's the next in line for the throne, he has like, and I'm just making it up because I don't know the numbers here. Let's say he has 3 kids. Well, those 3 kids, if I'm not mistaken, would be in front of the next in line, like that prince's younger brother. It's almost like the Lion King. Mufasa was killed, but that doesn't mean Scar is automatically the king. He has to get rid of Simba, who is the son of Mufasa, the current king. So there are just so many heirs in front of him. It's almost like Hans and Frozen. He had so many brothers. There was no way he would ever be king of his country. So hence why he went to Arendelle. And I'm not going to a Disney history lesson here, but it's like he was always the rebel. Prince Harry was always the rebel of his family. So him doing something like this really wasn't out of the ordinary. But at the same time, it's like, I feel like maybe he knew more about what would happen if he married Meghan than what Meghan knew would happen if she married Harry. It's kind of one of those things where maybe Harry kind of lightened her to the situation. Oh, hey, I'm not like, most of my family, or maybe my family's cool. And, you gotta look at it from the Meghan perspective of, wow, this prince, he's part of this royal family and he loves me. He wants to date me. He wants me to marry him. So yeah, maybe his family's cool, black people's. But then behind closed doors, things come out. And I believe that there was a statement from the royal family or the queen hours after, this story got traction. So there's a lot of damage control that has to be done here, but the damage is already done. Apparently, like, the media over there in Britain was not kind. I believe there was a photo of the prince, Meghan, and their baby side by side with a monkey photo. And I'm like, damn. So it's like that. But I mean, it's not surprising, racism in America, racism in other countries. Hey, it is what it is. Not saying that, that's the way life should be, but that's literally the way life is. And, hopefully things will change. But yet again, once you date or marry into a family like that, it's really hard to, persevere. Typically, when you get married, there's always that competition. If you marry, like a woman marries someone that's like a mama's boy, or, out of respect, their mother comes first. But when you get married, and, I would think, the way I would look at it is love my mom, but my wife is the priority, she's the first woman in my life. But it's just interesting to kind of see the way people, I feel like there isn't much for me to add to the conversation, because I'm more intrigued on how people have split views on this. Like I mentioned earlier, those who are Team Meghan, those who are Team Queen, those who are who cares. But it's just interesting. I've seen some posts, like everybody's talking about Meghan and whatnot, but you got to give it up to Harry for, giving it all up to stand by his wife's side. He gave up his royal title and everything to be, there with his wife, which is commendable. But like I said, it's really hard to sympathize. I think Oprah even kind of made a point. I mean, I don't think she said it, in no uncertain terms, but you can kind of feel like, should we really sympathize with you, white privilege and whatnot, where I feel like more people are coming to the aid of Meghan. And I'm not going to sit here and say who should get the most sympathy or, just shut up and be royal. I don't know, but I just feel like, it's hard to sympathize with Harry because it's like, if you date someone your parents don't like and your parents cut you off, like, oh, I'm not paying your phone bill, or, oh, you're going to have to start paying rent and that kind of stuff. It's like, you were literally born with the silver spoon in your mouth. So yeah, the whole security thing, that is kind of messed up. I mean, there could be enemies out there, and with them being unprotected, yeah, not a good thing. But I guess you could say that Prince Harry isn't quite essential to the throne because, as I mentioned before, there are just so many heirs in front of him. It's like, oh, you lose one, it's oh well. But I just feel like because of his actions and, an interview like this, they did their best to not name names. But I felt like maybe a lot of people felt the way I did. I didn't watch this interview to get, dancing around the questions. I think Oprah, I will admit, Oprah, she might not be too popular amongst, a lot of black people nowadays, especially, her and Gayle in their interviews, documentaries on like, R. Kelly or Michael Jackson and whatnot. But Oprah knows how to give a damn interview. What did she say? Were you silent or being silenced? I was like, damn, Oprah. That woman knows how to give one hell of an interview. Like I said, I might not agree with everything she does, but damn it, she knows how to give a good interview. And she was actually asking the right questions. Like, she would ask a question, and if she wasn't getting the answer I wouldn't say if she wasn't getting the answer she wanted, but she didn't feel like she was receiving the answers that, she was trying to get. Let me say that again. It wasn't like she was trying to get Meghan and Harry to say specific things, but it was more so. Here's an example. Remember when Jada was like an entanglement and Will was like an entanglement, basically saying, just tell us what it is. But then after you do the research, entanglement was exactly what Jada and August were doing. But don't use fancy terms, because I gotta admit, I had to Google a lot of the certain terminology that Harry and Meghan were using, because it's like, I don't know what the heck they're talking about. I have heard people say that if you watch like this series called The Crown, then everything is spelled out for you. I'm not doing that. Maybe at some point, if I have the free time, I'll watch it in my leisure. I still haven't even watched Michael Jordan's The Last Dance, which I heard is fantastic. But yeah, I literally had to Google what they were talking about because I had no idea, like, this location, this person, this title. But it's like, they were kind of dancing around the questions, but she would get to the meat of the sandwich in order to let people understand what's going on. So it felt like it felt like this entire interview was them walking on eggshells. They were trying to answer questions, but at the same time, not burn too many bridges. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, you kind of burnt the whole castle, if you will. So there's a lot of damage control that needs to be done. I know some people are like, it's 2021. Why are there still hierarchies like that? It's just the way it is. I mean, well, I'm no expert, but I don't think there's any pharaohs in Egypt anymore. But, who am I to say get with the times? Look, it's their tradition. They do what they want to. But it's like, we're just outsiders looking in. So it's like you really don't know what's going on the inside of the castle until you've been inside it yourself. Like I said, if it wasn't for those tabloids and whatnot, I wouldn't really know what the royal family was about. Growing up prior to the demise of Princess Diana, I knew all about I knew about the family because, there'll be a couple news stories here or there. There'll be a royal wedding or, like I said, the tabloids, Food Line and whatnot. Honestly, I don't really see those like I used to because more often than not, I'm using the self-checkout as opposed to like waiting in line to check out. But, that's neither here nor there. But overall, this interview, I mean, should you watch it? you probably don't even need to, because by now you've probably seen news reports and whatnot breaking certain things down. But other than that, that's all I got to say on the story. I feel like I don't really feel some kind of way about it. I'm not shocked that, if I were to sum it up, I'm not shocked by how the royal family apparently is. The only thing I remember as a kid, that was really cool was like, apparently, Princess Diana was a fan of Michael Jackson. So that was pretty legit. But yeah. All right, guys. Well, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And with that being said, I'll talk to you in the next video.